Hari Om and good morning from Pittsburgh at our South Hill Center. Yesterday when we drove from Ontario through New York to Pennsylvania, there was a board that said, "Welcome to Pennsylvania." And underneath that board, what was written was, "Pursue your happiness." So I thought to myself, here I am for 10 years studying and sharing thoughts from the scriptures when all I need to do is drive to Pennsylvania. And I can find happiness in Pennsylvania, right? That is, unless the Patriots win today, then Philadelphia will be the opposite of that. We all know that just driving through a state cannot be the source of happiness. It can be the source of pleasure. There can be a nice bed and breakfast. There can be a great concert, and on and on and on. But happiness, the pursuit of peace, has to be systematic. Only when this is systematic can this be systemic. Systemic here means comprehensive. In our case, it would mean independent. Our Shastras, the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, are a system. Our Shastras are a system. I use the word systematic. And our Vedanta and Ramayana course is a guide through the system so that what we're experiencing becomes systemic. That we're not just happy in satsang, we're happy outside of satsang. We're not just happy in success, we're happy in failure also. To pursue peace, this is not to go outside, but to go inside. Aranyakanda, the third chapter of Ramayana, slowly concludes with Bhagwan Rama telling Shabariji the 9 ways to be more loving. To love who? Starting with yourself and then others. The first rung is satsang. Satsang should evolve to kata. Kata to seva, seva to kirtana, kirtana to japa, japa to dhamma. Dhamma is discipline. Dhamma to darshana, darshana to prasada. And how do you know when you're loving yourself and loving others in the maximum way? Sama. What does sama mean? Balance. To be even inside, to treat others equally. A disease in corporations is workplace disparity, correct? We're in a time of less isms. We should have less racism, but it seems like there's more racism. Less sexism, but it seems like there's more sexism. When here in this scripture, in this system, who knows how old this is saying sama. That love brings in this equality, this oneness. This is called the Navada Bhagati, and this Billini, this tribal woman, is an expert in this. We have degrees in this and this, we've traveled here and there, but she actually is literate in the most important way. And then the Kanda does end with Bhagwan Rama telling Devarishi Narada how one knows if they're growing within themselves, if they're learning to love themselves and others. I'd shared some insights last week. One of those insights was Mita Bhogi. Mita Bhogi means eat less, eat lightly, especially today with the Super Bowl happening and so on and so forth. You're telling me this is not practical. You know how all of these indicators of growth are beginning? Bhagwan Rama says, Shat Vikara Jita. One is growing when they have less desire, that is kama, less krodha or anger, less lobha or greed, less moha or confusion, less mada or arrogance, and less matsarya or jealousy. So much insecurity in the world is because people are jealous. And so much jealousy in the world because people compare. They're not loving themselves, so they're looking at other people's lives. But one who is using this system to want to be systemically happy, they don't compare. With this, Aranyakanda is completed. And if you remember how I began Aranyakanda, Aranyakanda is compared to Maya. If you get dropped down in a forest and you have no orientation, how will you get out? Aranyakanda is like Maya. But throughout this chapter, we've learned the way to get out is Chitta Shuddhi, purifying the mind, to become more disciplined, to become more compassionate, and on and on and on. For someone who's patient, did they ever become angry? And if they're actually not shaken? Imagine how life would be if we didn't have anger, if we were more patient. All road rage would end. We'd just be safer drivers. After Aranyakanda is Kishkinda Kanda. This is the 4th chapter of Ramayana. In chapter 3, Bhagwan went and met all of the sadhus, all of the seekers in the forest. In this Kanda, who does he meet? All of the pashus, the animals. How loving God is that he goes and meets the humans and he goes and meets the animals also. And even in Ramayana, we're studying multiple dialogues, correct? We have the rishis who are talking, Yajnavalkya and Bharadwaj Rishi. And then you have the animals who are talking too. Kakabhushundi is a crow. He's speaking to Garuda, who is an eagle. A lot of thoroughness. Kishkinda Kanda begins with 3 Mangal Shlokas, 3 opening prayers, 3 previews before the movie begins. There are 7 parts to this movie. This is the 4th part. But there's previews before this movie begins. And the first shloka focuses on Bhagwan's rupa. What does rupa mean? Form. How he looks with your eyes. And one of the words used is Shobhadhyau. Bhagwan is the one who is most beautiful. Who decides who's most beautiful? Forbes? Revlon? Who decides who's most beautiful? The most beautiful is one who brings out the beauty in others. And Bhagwan Rama is great in that. He's going to be with all of the animals and showing their beauty. The most beautiful is one who doesn't have to put in effort to be beautiful. See my hair right now? How combed it is, and still it doesn't look beautiful. When our son Vyasa wakes up, he wakes up with a mohawk. No effort, but it looks beautiful. So being natural is beautiful. And here's where I've shared on every yatra I've led people on. Don't use gel. Don't use makeup. I even say don't use deodorant. That's how you naturally smell, correct? Be natural. Another word to describe Bhagwan Rama's form, Shruti Nutau. Shruti Nutau means the scriptures bow down to Bhagwan Rama, to his feet. Now when we come here, we bow down to Ganeshji or Ramayana, but the scriptures bow down to Bhagwan. And if you think of this carefully, if we want to climb out of dependent joy, the immediate rung is Sadguru, our guide. Above that is Shastra, scriptures. And above that is Bhagwan, or God. The scriptures bow down to God. The scriptures lead one to God. When Puja Swami Tej Ramayana had come to Pittsburgh 2 years ago, we went to pick him up at the airport. And when he came, then someone had garlanded him and lots of people were prostrating. And he was right near the TSA pre-check line. And as this was happening, I was overhearing someone say, "Why are all those people prostrating to that guy?" But you see, where that prostration was happening is indicating someone great, or what we should be led to. Shruti Nutau. This is how Bhagwan Rama looks. And deeper than that rupa is the nama. That's the second Mangal Shloka, focuses on Bhagwan Rama's name. And why I'm saying this is deeper, when I say Arizona Cardinals, what do you think of? Hot. If you know nothing about that team, you think about Sedona, you think about the Grand Canyon and so on. You see how the form came after the name. The nama pulls the rupa. I'll make it simpler. When I say snow, what do you think of? White, cold, fortress, driving, school canceled. See how the nama pulls the rupa? Bhagwan Rama's rupa liberated thousands, but his name liberated millions and more. So here's where Goswamiji focuses on Bhagwan Rama's name. And he compares this in a most interesting way. He compares Bhagwan Rama's name as Amrita. Where else did Amrita come from? The churning of the milky ocean. So he gives this comparison. He says the nectar that came out of the churning of the milky ocean, that was churned from milk. Bhagwan Rama's name has been churned from the Veda. Now what do you get from milk? You get butter maybe. What do you get from the scripture? You get systematic happiness. So which is greater? This name is. The Amrita that came out of the milky ocean gave longevity. It made people live long. But Bhagwan Rama's name gives purity. I may live long, but if I live unhappily, what's the point? But with purity, I become compassionate, disciplined, loving, and so on. Bhagwan Shankaracharya, his parents wanted an extraordinary child for 16 years rather than an ordinary child for 100 years. They chose purity. The nectar that came out of the milky ocean was vyaya. Vyaya means it was being exhausted. Remember when that Rakshasa took some and how mad everyone was? That there's not enough nectar. But Bhagwan Rama's name is Avyaya. It's inexhaustible. If I take Bhagwan Rama's name, does that stop you? We keep living this zero-sum game, isn't it? I make $1, it's one less dollar for you. That's like this nectar, but Bhagwan Rama's name, we can all chant Bhagwan Rama's name. Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan says this so beautifully. There's a song called Gorak Danda. He says, that person chants Rahim and I chant Ram, then why is everyone fighting? You can chant Rahim, I can chant Ram. What's the need to fight, isn't it? That name can go around and around and around. Bhagwan's name is Sukha Kara. Kara means the one that does or brings sukha. Kam means space. Sukha means good space. Whenever we're rattled, if we chant Bhagwan's name, we create a good space, no? Shri Janaki Jivanam. This is the life of the daughter of Raja Janaka. When she's in Ashoka Vatika, totally surrounded by terrorists, what name is on her mouth? Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. And she got out, correct? This is the life of Mother Sita. And she got out of the worst circumstance. None of us have been in that circumstance. But if it worked for her, it can work for us too. Itihasa means history. This happened. This is not open to opinion. This is the truth. Finally, what Guruji pointed out when we were studying this, Rama, pronounce that backwards, Mara, or literally backwards. Amar, isn't it? Rama's name is so great that going forward, it means joy. Going backwards, it means fearless. Can you do that with your name? My name is Vivek, which is pretty good forwards, but Keviv then. That doesn't mean anything. That's the greatness of this name, is Rama and Amar, or Amara. You know, unless a guide points that out to us, how would we ever know that? And it makes you have more faith in Bhagwan's name and Bhagwan's doings. Rupa, Nama, now we go deeper to Dhamma. This is the third Mangal Shloka, the invocation. Dhamma. This chapter is associated with Kashi. What's another name for Kashi? Varanasi. Who lives in Kashi? Bhagwan Shiva. And if Bhagwan Shiva is there, who else is there? Mother Parvati. In Kashi, Bhagwan Shiva lives there and he gives knowledge for the mind. And Mother Parvati lives there too. What does she give? Anna. She gives food for the body. Annapurneshwari. That's where she lives, in Kashi. Now, if you want food, should you go to Kashi? You can't go to any other city. That's how you're going to save money, by going to Kashi for food. How to make this subjective requires more thinking. Kashi is a puri. Puri means it's a city, a town. What else is described as a puri? This body. If you study Bhagavad Gita, this puri has 9 gates. All of our orifices here, on our face and below. This is a city. So the body is the puri. For those who came on a yatra with me to Uttarakashi, when we were in Uttarakashi, what was the main part of our day? When we went to Kashi Vishwanath Mandir. The Mandir is the mind. So Kashi is the body, and Kashi Vishwanath Mandir is the mind. Now where does Bhagwan Shiva and Mother Parvati live? In the Mandir. Who is Mother Parvati? Shraddha. Did you chant that this morning? Shraddha. And who's Bhagwan Shiva? Vishwas. Faith and trust. When faith and trust are in your mind, what happens? Any experience you have, any knowledge that is shared, because there's faith and trust, you experience that. That's Kashi, where you're enlightened. Kashi means light, to shine. So you don't have to go to Varanasi. You should go, but you don't have to. You can invoke that by having a healthy body, by having a mind that's filled with faith and trust. People think that if you die in Kashi, that you are subject to enlightenment. that dying in Kashi means the ego should die where there's faith and trust. That is enlightenment. With all of this preparation, then Goswamiji begins Kishkinda Kanda, and we'll only read one chopai right now. I'm on the third section of chopais. The third section, this is the fourth chopai, the first line. Sunu kapi jia manasi jani una te mama priya lachimana te duna. Bhagavan Rama is telling Hanumanji, and here Hanumanji is introduced. Bhagavan Rama is telling Hanumanji, you're twice as dear to me as Lakshmana. And who's there listening to this? Lakshmana. That's like me telling my older sister, and my younger sister's there, I like you twice as much as this sister. How is my younger sister going to feel? Good, I don't care anyways. But it's interesting to note that Sri Lakshmana's right there. Bhagavan Rama's just met Hanumanji. Sri Lakshmana served him his whole life. Sri Lakshmana was born to serve Bhagavan Rama. Bhagavan Rama says, yeah, I like you twice as much. So why? What led up to this? Bhagavan Rama goes forward to Rishyamukha Parvata. Rishyamukha Parvata. Now, if you open up this word, Rishyamukha means Rishi Amukha, where rishis practice silence. Rishyamukha Parvata is where rishis practice silence. And who's living on this mountain? Sugriva. And if you're paying attention, Shabadiji said, go to Rishyamukha Parvata, you will meet Sugriva. So bhaktas pass on Bhagwan to bhaktas. There's no jealousy there. Bhaktas keep on encouraging bhaktas. And there's Sugriva's there, Nala, Nila, Jambavan, Hanuman, they're all over there too. Sugriva, etc., they're known as Pashus. The etymology of the word Pashu is Pashyati. Animals live by sight, they live by instinct. Can you make a cow a carnivore? A cow instinctively is a herbivore. Can you make a tiger a herbivore? Instinctively, it eats flesh. Pashu, what they see, they live by that. But Sugriva, etc., they're not animals like the dogs and cats that live in our homes. They are demigods. And a demigod can assume any shape they want. So they're like humans in animal form. You know, in the Marvel movies, you have shapeshifters. They copied that from these demigods. That's why Jambavan's a bear, correct? Hanumanji's a monkey. So don't ever think that don't say just a monkey. He looks like a monkey by eyes, but by mind, he's not a monkey. These are more than just pashus. They're demigods. Sugriva, when he sees Bhagavan Rama and Sri Lakshmana, what does he do? Starts running. Because he thinks his brother sent them to come and kill him. That will be in next week's class. So he starts running, and Hanumanji says, wait, where are you running? And he says, Vali, my brother has sent these two brilliant warriors to come and kill me. And Hanumanji says, you don't know that. Why don't you find out their intention? Aren't we like Sugriva? You get an email in all caps lock, what do you think? That person's mad at you. What if they drop coffee on their keyboard and their caps lock is locked in? Correct? We're like Sugriva. So Sugriva's thinking about this. Yeah, I should find out. Hanumanji, it was your idea, you go ask. Again, like us, you come up with an idea, a great leader will say, it's your idea, you do the work. Now, how do you approach two brilliant warriors? He dresses up as a Brahmana. They're Kshatriyas, right? A Kshatriya will not hurt a Brahmana. And he went as a young boy. So a young boy, Brahmana, he approaches Bhagwan Rama and Sri Lakshmana and asks, "Who are you?" And Bhagwan Rama says, "Who are you?" So slowly, Hanumanji recognizes and realizes this is who he's been waiting for his whole life. Like Shabariji too. Like we should be waiting. In the interim, his master was Sugriva. His worldly master is Sugriva. Just like someone signs your paycheck, correct? Or validates your hours. But should that be your real boss? Your highest master? Hanumanji starts to cry and falls at Bhagwan Rama's feet. And immediately, Bhagwan Rama lifts him up and starts to cry more. They're having a crying contest. Each is bathing each other with their tears. And these are tears of sadness and joy. Today when I was with Vyasa, and for the first time in his life, he heard a pressure cooker. Because he's heard an Instapot, but they don't make any noise. A kettle shuts off, but this pressure cooker kept on going on. And every time he was crying. And it was just like, I tried to show him the pressure. He was crying more. But you see how much focus there is with tears. Someone sad or happy, if you see those tears, there's a lot of focus, a lot of concentration. They're both concentrating on each other. And there's more to this, but in general, the katha part, when Bhagwan Rama lifts Hanumanji and is crying that I've been waiting for you too, Hanumanji says, you need to come meet Sugriva. And Bhagwan Rama says, we're tired. Tell Sugriva to come to us. He's on the mountain. We're down here. And Hanumanji said, no one said you had to walk. So he picks them up, Bhagwan Rama and Sri Lakshmana on his shoulders, and starts running towards Sugriva. And then he meets Sugriva. And Sugriva is a sattvic demigod. He asks Bhagwan Rama, why are you here? Bhagwan Rama says, I'm here for these reasons. Sugriva says, I vow to help you find Mother Sita, and I take this vow in front of Agni. A fire is set up. And there's a whole lot to talk about this. So I'm going to go to the Vedanta part in brief. We'll study more next week. When Hanumanji sees Bhagwan Rama for the first time, what is he looking at Bhagwan Rama with? His eyes. So he sees a Kshatriya. But when he thinks more, he still sees Bhagwan Rama, but now he's not using his eyes, he's using his intellect. His third eye is the eye of the intellect. You go from sight to vision then. With sight, girls and boys, rich and poor. You can see all of that with your eyes, but with vision, you transcend all of that. Hanumanji quickly goes from sight to vision. And when he falls at Bhagwan Rama's feet, he says, Nahi upai. That Bhagwan, I don't know anything. I don't know anything but you. And this is why he's at his feet, that I see you, how come you don't see me? Hanumanji's tears are of sadness, not of joy. That you've forgotten me? I don't know anything else. I am nothing else. Connecting this to Bhagavad Gita, this is called Ananya. Anya means you and you. Anya means I have my boss here and my boss here. Anya means I want God, but I also want popularity. Isn't that us? I want my kids to get married well, and I want God. But nahi upai means there's no other path for me. There's no other purpose for me. And that's why Bhagwan lifts him up, saying, you and I are not separate. And Sri Lakshmana and Bhagwan Rama are also not separate. So that's why when he says, you're twice as dear, Sri Lakshmana doesn't feel hurt by that. That's like me saying, I like my ring finger twice as much as my baby finger. Is this finger offended? No, because we're the same. With Ananya, Bhagwan lifts those up to him. You want God, God will lift you up to him. But if you want God and, here's that term, God is a jealous God. And you can interpret that, God is a jealous God, to mean that Jesus is the only God. This is written in the Bible. God is a jealous God. So that means Jesus only. But that's not what the meaning is. I am a jealous God means when you want me only. Eva, not api. God alone, not God also. Then God will reveal himself to you. First, Hanumanji had to take off his disguise. Then Bhagwan took off his disguise. If we go armed to God, God will also be armed, correct? When you focus on Bhagwan and he has all of these weapons, maybe because we have these harmful or violent personalities. But if you're not violent or harmful, you focus on the lotus rather than the sword, correct? You see what you want to see. Here Bhagwan is practicing manada. He's encouraging Hanumanji. He doesn't need to be respected. He's focusing on empowering others. Guruji had shared with us when we were studying this, Bhagwan wants you to come to him as you are. If you come as you are not, then that means we don't have faith in God, that God can only see the outside and not the inside. But when you come as you are, you have the faith that God can see what you can't see. An ignorant person doesn't know they're ignorant, correct? That's why you need someone who can see your potential to bring out your potential. All of this can only be experienced. I was sharing with Sheila yesterday that the class I focused on the least when I was in the Vedanta course was Ramayana. I loved Upanishad class. I loved Gita class. I liked Ramayana class. And I feel that because I liked it only, I never applied myself fully to this. And when such thoughts came about a guru can find your potential that you don't know, I thought, wow, Vedavyasa, Acharya Shankara, Goswamiji, they all colluded with each other. This is like a monopoly that the Guru Shishya Parampara created, that you have to go through the Guru. This is amazing what they've done here. Post-Vedanta course, I realized the mistake that I made, that I should have loved Ramayana also. And here's where Bhagwan's Kripa, that I have a chance to study each chopai and try to share that in a simple way. That's Bhagwan's Kripa. You were really ignorant before, now you're 1% less ignorant to have this chance. When Bhagwan Rama goes to Sugriva, you know what he says? Sugriva Sharanam Gataha. Bhagwan goes to Sugriva saying, I need your help. How empowering God is that he's willing to come down to say, I need this animal's help. Talk about manada, not requiring people to praise you, but to praise other people. Not requiring compliments, but to compliment other people. Surreal if you study the words of Ramayana. When Sugriva makes this pact to help Bhagwan Rama, I said he does this in front of Agni. What else do you do in front of Agni? All of us, for those who are older, what did you do in front of a fire? You got married, no? And you've been burned since then. Why Agni? Because Agni burns those who are uncommitted. When Mother Sita went into the fire and came out of the fire, was she burned? No. When Prahlada goes into the fire, out of the fire, is he burned? When Holika goes into the fire, she doesn't come out, correct? She's burned because she's uncommitted. When we break our commitments, break our promises, when we are disloyal, who gets burned? We get burned. That's why Agni is given this presence when taking up sankalpas. Another way to look at this is when people curse, they use water, right? They shop, and then they throw this water at you. The idea being is, water is so elemental. Our brains are water, our bodies are water. When someone gives you water, can it ever be a curse? It's a blessing. That's going to happen to you anyways, but now you know it's going to happen to you, right? For all of the kids who grew up in India, when you didn't wake up for school, what did your parents do? Shop! And they throw water at you, right? That's a blessing, not a curse. So we integrate the elements so much into our culture, into our religion. So the presence of Agni. I've only scraped the dialogue between Bhagavan Rama, Hanumanji, and Sugriva. I wanted you to think about all of this, and we'll go into this more next week.